now. Recording in progress. We are underway. So this is your Swim Meet 101 session, and it's going to be a very kind of high-level overview of what you can expect from ABSC swim meets, just to try to get you guys just mentally prepared for what to expect, because a lot of you have never been on the team before, or maybe you've been on the team but not very long, and it's just nice to hear the coach kind of go over expectations and things like that. So I'll give you guys a quick overview, and then from there we'll dive into the different slides, and at the very end we'll open it up for a few minutes of Q&A. And I think what we should probably do for the Q&A is, again, we'll probably just have you guys typing in the chat, if you have questions along the way. That way, if I'm on like slide 3 or 4 and a question strikes you, you can just put it in the chat really quick and I can come back to it at a later time. So let's go ahead and start this slideshow. And it does say it's the first town hall Zoom. So I plan to do a town hall like this about once a month, just to try to bring everybody into the loop. I think about various topics. Like, for example, the next one is going to be more about swimmer performance and ways that your swimmer can be tracking their own progress, and you as the parent can be tracking their progress to help you with goal setting and things of that nature. So we'll try to have some different topics. We'll talk about college recruiting. We'll talk about diet and sleep and that sort of thing, about multi-sport athletes. We'll talk about championship season. So we've got several different topics to go over, and this is the first one of those. And I'll make sure you guys have the calendar for all of that before long. So let's dive right in. Swim meets are an awesome thing for our club and for our swimmers. ABSC is extremely blessed to get to host swim meets. Many clubs don't have that, and certainly many clubs don't have the ability to do it at a pool like UGA at the Ramsey Center. We're extremely blessed to be able to do meets there, and occasionally we'll even do mini meets at places like the Georgia Aquatic Center too. But yeah, having a place like Ramsey is great, and that's why we like to host a lot of meets as well. We usually host several meets a semester, and teams are usually happy to come and swim against us at the Ramsey Center. And we like meets because they're the main way that our swimmers really have a chance to grow. Obviously, they're growing and improving in practice, but when you go to the meet, that's where you get your feedback and see what the progress is, sometimes in the form of going a new personal best time, sometimes in the form of just watching a kid actually race at full speed and seeing what their turns look like at full speed and what their streamlines look like at full speed. So the kids take away information, the parents take away information, and certainly the coaches get to take away information. That's why you'll see all of us coaches standing there. We'll have a heat sheet in our hands with a list of the swimmers in the water, and we'll have a pen and a clipboard, and we'll be usually writing down their new time, as well as maybe some notes about what they need to work on based on what we saw in each race. So it's super helpful for us and for the swimmers. But meets at UGA that ABSC hosts, and away meets as well, just USA Swimming meets in general, they're a lot different than what you might expect at a summer league meet. For example, just thinking about the red and black coming up this weekend, it's a huge pool at Ramsey. The building can be a little bit overwhelming. You'll have a main competition pool. You'll have a warm up and warm down pool. You'll even have a back pool that we won't be using. So there's a lot going on, and big spectator stands. It can be a little bit overwhelming to kids at first. So just mentally prepare for that it's a different setting. Red and black is probably about the size. It will be about the size of, like, let's say you swim summer league in Oconee County. Maybe it's a Shamrock versus, Oconee Club meet, or a Shamrock versus Summerhill Summer League meet. You're going to have about 300 kids in this meet, and it'll take a few hours to get through the meet. Sometimes our meets will have multiple sessions. And and I will say that the red and black is going to be smaller than a lot of ABSC meets. Actually, at a lot of ABSC meets, we will run multiple pools at the same time. We'll have a girls pool going on one half and a boys pool on the other half. And that's why we need so many timers and officials, because you've got 16 lanes going at the same time. And when you have clubs like Swim Atlanta that can show up and bring 400 kids to a meet, that's why you need to run 2 pools and why they can take a while. And sometimes there's multiple sessions. Maybe it'll be like a set, like our October meet coming up, there will be a Saturday session and a Sunday session. Sometimes there will be like a morning and an afternoon session, and we'll get into the details of that later. You don't always have to do all of the sessions. Often these meets are an invite format. So unlike Summer League, where it's typically a head-to-head battle, these meets can often be, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams all in the same place at the same time. Sometimes they'll have prelims and finals, especially for 11 and older swimmers. So all the swimmers will swim in the morning, and the top 16 or the top 20 or something like that will come back again in the afternoon and swim. You can think about our divisionals meet in March. Our big championship meet is a prelim final meet for 11 and overs. And all the meets are sanctioned by USA Swimming, with the exception of the mini meets that we do at GAC. Those are usually not sanctioned. We have sanctioned them before, and we can, but we don't always. So let's talk about what swim meets are about. And before we dive into all that, here's a picture of the Ramsey Center. I guess it was back in the late 90s when it was first built, because there's no banners on the wall or anything like that. If you go in now and you look to the right and look at that overhang section, where you can see those windows up there, kind of in the top right corner, there's 6 national championship banners for our UGA women's team. So we've done a lot of good work since this building opened. But this is what this will look like somewhat when your swimmers come in, minus all the banners and everything that it has today. Pretty big facility, as you can see. So some ABSC meet requirements for you. And the way we have structured our program is we have structured it to increase by group. So when your swimmer is in the GUPS group, and that's kind of our intro to ABSC practice group, meets are technically optional. We would encourage GUPS to do at least one per semester. So like a great thing a GUP could do would swim the red and black meet, and then in March they could swim divisionals, because those tend to be the 2 meets where we focus the most on like dressing up and team spirit and doing silly things. We're actually going to have a photo booth at the red and black meet this weekend, so that should be pretty fun. But GUPS can obviously do more meets than just that. They can do all of them as long as they're eligible. Pups, we encourage at least 1 to 2 per semester. Again, they can do more. Super pups, at least 2 to 3. Dogs and our 2 main kind of competitive senior groups, we're expecting them to do the meets. Like if you're in the dogs, you should probably come to the meets. Obviously there are exceptions. Maybe your family's out of town that weekend. Maybe there's a high school meet and you want to swim for your high school team that weekend. It's totally fine. But in general, you should be at the meets. Senior flex and homeschool group, again, kind of like the GUPS, the meets are optional. We would encourage a couple per semester, but you don't have to. We're not going to kick you off the team if you're not doing meets in those groups. Finally, as I mentioned before, if it is a multi-day meet, you don't have to do every day of the meet. And if it's like let's just leave it at that. If it's a multi-day meet, you don't have to do every day. Like the October meet coming up, I think it's the same weekend as the ATH half, if I'm not mistaken. And so maybe you're going to run the ATH half, and so you just do one day and not the other day or something like that. And if you had to pick 2 meets, I would encourage swimmers to do divisionals and the red and black meet. We are the reigning divisionals champions of the Spirit Award and of the Points Award. So we actually won the meet and we won the Team Spirit Award. We dressed up like rock stars last year. Big shout out to our parent committee for putting all that together. So season overview, you can expect roughly 1 meet per month. January through March tends to be busier than that. I'll go over that here in a second. So for example, an exception to that would be some meets have qualifying times. For example, 15 and over, what we call senior state, the 15 and over state, you have to qualify for that, or 14 and under state, you have to qualify for. But most meets don't have qualifying times. Even divisionals doesn't have qualifying times. It's just a few meets that do. So a typical season with ABSC, you're going to go red and black will happen in September. In October, we'll do our big invite meet. Again, I think that's the weekend of the 22nd of October. November, we typically do a travel meet. This year, we're going to Greenville. Love going to Greenville. They host really good meets there, and it's a fun town to go to. Again, you don't have to do travel meets if you don't want to. Totally fine. Not an issue, but you definitely can. December, we'll do our Classic City Quad meet that we host at the Ramsey Center, usually with Dynamo and Swim Atlanta and Aiken Augusta. And Senior State also happens in December, but again, that's just qualifying swimmers. There's also a brand new meet happening this year, which is a 10 and under championship meet that Swim Atlanta is hosting the same weekend as Senior State. I don't have a lot of info on that, but as soon as I do get info on that, I will let everybody know. And if it seems like something, I've put it on our schedule just tentatively in case it's something worth going to. I don't know what it'll be like or not, but we'll see. January, ABSC will host another meet, our New Year's kickoff. And February, we typically go to a last chance meet to try to qualify for the 14 and under state meet or high school state for high school swimmers. That's usually late January, early February. We'll do the last chance meet. And so then we'll do 14 and under state in mid to late February. March, we last year went to the Gwinnett raffle meet at the Greater Atlanta Christian School. They have a pool on campus, and we went to the raffle meet with a couple other clubs, and it was a lot of fun. So we're going to go back. We had a lot of ABSC kids winning prizes at that meet, so that was kind of cool. And then divisionals is the big shebang at the end of March. Once divisionals is over, we usually take kind of a chill week or two to sort of reset our season plan after a whole school year, basically, of hard training. We'll take the whole week off for spring break in April. And then after we come back from spring break, it's on to the long course season or the summer league season or both, whatever you're doing. And we'll actually have a town hall about summer league and long course in the future. February, March is championship season. So that's when your 14 and under state is. Seniors have a meet called senior sectionals, which is kind of a big deal that they'll go to. And that's when the divisionals meet is. And divisionals is a whole team event. Every kid on the team can go, and we really encourage swimmers to go to that. And yeah, there's the part about April and resetting for long course. So next slide here, changing gears, is what to bring to a swim meet. And first, I would recommend Sharpies when you go to a swim meet. I would definitely recommend bringing Sharpies so that you can write your swimmer's events on your arm, which I'll show you on the next slide, or anything else you want to write. We have some very creative parents who can draw bulldogs on people's back or on their arm if you want to. So that's always a lot of fun. Feel free to get creative with the Sharpies. Just use discretion when passing out Sharpies to children, because you will have your child coming home with like tribal marks all over their body of Sharpie. So you need to be careful. Their face, you'll need to bring appropriate team colors or spirit wear. For some of the meets, we'll say, okay, on Saturday, everybody wear red. On Sunday, everybody wear black. Or like for this red and black meet coming up, if your swimmer is on the red team, wear red. If they're on the black, wear black. If they're split between the two, feel free to mix it up. Maybe you can have one of those house divided shirts or something like that. You'll want to bring snacks to the meets. A lot of our meets at Ramsey, like the red and black, for example, will not have concessions. So keep that in mind. Pack a little cooler, a small cooler. If you bring a big cooler, they won't let you in, but like a little tiny thing. Pack a bag, bring some drinks. You're going to want snacks over the course of that meet. Red and black will not be the longest meet we have, but still worth bringing snacks. Divisionals and the really huge meets, we will usually have concessions, and most away meets will have concessions. You'll also want to bring we will email you the heat sheets probably on Friday or Saturday. So that's a whole list of all the swimmers' heats and lanes. Typically people like to print those out at home and bring them with, and you can highlight your swimmer in the heat sheet. Because the meets can last several hours, you're going to want to send your swimmer with cards. You're going to want to send them with books. You're going to want to send them with games to play. Obviously, it's the 21st century and video games exist, so some kids will want to do that, but hopefully they're just not on video games for 4 hours, you know what I mean? Hopefully they're doing something that's interactive with friends, but do keep that in mind. They're going to need obviously a suit. You're going to want to swim in an ABSC cap. Most of you have gotten those by now. For red and black, you'll be getting a red or black cap. The custom cap order is on its way out before long. All of that is coming soon for those that ordered the cap with their last name on it, but you can't swim in a cap that's not ABSC cap. And in fact, if your swimmers wear a cap that has another team's logo on it, like their high school team or, a college team they support, depending on the meet, depending on the official, you can get disqualified for that. So your swimmer can get disqualified for that from their race. So they need to wear an ABSC cap. Plus, you don't want to swim your race and not be wearing the team cap, you know what I mean? Like it's team spirit. Suits are a little bit different. Not all the swimmers will be wearing the team suit for various reasons. A lot of the older swimmers, especially at big meets, will be like wearing tech suits and stuff like that. So suit, feel free to mix it up a little bit more. But cap, younger kids, a lot of them will probably be in the team suit, or older kids. Like at the red and black meet, you'll probably see more team suits from the older kids because they're probably not going to suit up for the red and black meet in a tech suit. So keep all that in mind. You're going to want the Meet Mobile app, or at least a decent number of you will want that app. I think it's like there's an annual subscription. I think it's maybe $6.99 or something, but it's an app where you can get live meet results, not just from ABSC meets, but meets all over the country. You can get UGA, college results on there. You can get high school meet results on there. Sometimes summer league results on Meet Mobile, live as they come. So you can see what place your swimmer got, whether they add or drop time, things like that. And be advised that if you don't work for UGA, I don't think our parents typically have guest Wi-Fi access in Ramsey, so be advised there. Here's the picture I've accidentally clicked to a few times of a swimmer's arm, a young swimmer. This picture actually always makes me laugh because it kind of looks like the parent is like pinching the swimmer's arm really hard, but you'll see an E, an H, an L, and an S. The E stands for their event number, the H stands for their heat, the L stands for their lane, and the S stands for what swim they are doing. You don't have to include the S. Some younger kids like the S just as a reminder of like, oh yeah, I'm doing IM, I better do all 4 strokes. So when you get your heat sheet on Friday, for example, it will have your swimmer's heat and their lane for each race. So for the first event, your swimmer might be in event number 5, heat 1, lane 6, and then later on they might be in event number 11, heat 3, lane 2. And so this will help keep track of what they're swimming and when, what event number. There's 2 big Jumbotron boards in the Ramsey Center that are showing the times as they scroll. It shows what event we're on. It shows what heat we're on. So you can always look at the board and see where we're at in the swim meet. It's helpful. So next is, what is your swimmer's job at a swim meet? There we go. That's better. Your swimmer's job at a swim meet, first and foremost, is to follow this formula here before and after every race. So let's say the meet has begun and the first race has arrived. When that happens, your swimmer is going to follow this formula. Let's just, to keep it simple, we'll call it the 50 free. Your swimmer is going to swim the 50 free. So first, they should come up and talk. They should find their group coach. We'll all be standing on the pool deck on either side of the pool. So they need to come and find their group coach. For the red and black meet, it's a little different because we're split in half. Our staff is split in half, but typically you'll be able to recognize a coach from your practice group. If not, coach, I'll be there and be available. Your swimmer should be able to find me, but they're going to want to talk to their coach. The coach will give them advice. After that, they swim their race. Next, they do a cool down after their race in the cool down pool, which is next to the main competition pool. And finally, before they go see mom and dad, this is huge. Before they go see mom and dad, they need to come back and talk to their coach again, because we just watched the race. We just made note of it on our heat sheet. And so when they come back and talk to us, we'll be able to tell them what we thought about the race and what they need to work on and what they did well. We always try to give them that feedback after a race of, this is what you did well, this is what you need to work on. Great job. You know, we'll see you before the next race. And then they just need to go and chill. That's why you bring cards. That's why you bring books. That's why you bring games, because they're going to have downtime typically in between races. Again, red and black caveat will be a little bit faster, won't have as much downtime as they do sometimes. Okay. Let's see. Signing up for meets. You guys have been going through this process a little bit here. So you're going to first, the coaches will email you an email with the meet information through our Team Unify system, and it will have a sign up form, and you as the parent will either declare attending or not attending. Please do declare not attending if you don't plan to go. That way we know something wasn't missed and our communication was received. And you can do that in your GoMotion app or on the actual Team Unify website login, which you should all still have. I'll send a reminder of how to download this app and keep this website login again. We're actually in the process. So Team Unify is technically a website. So we'll be switching our ABSC website over. We're in the process of doing that, and it'll be easier to log into the future because you'll just go to the ABSC website and log in the top corner. So typically about 2 weeks out, you get the meet info, maybe 3 weeks out, maybe 4 weeks out, sometimes a little earlier. I should probably update that to 3 or 4 weeks. Then you're going to declare whether you're going or not. The deadline is usually a week and a half-ish out. After that, there will be a few days of revision period where the coaches put the swimmers in their lanes. We send out the initial entries, and you as the parents are going to look it over and see what's messed up, because when we're doing these entries by hand, the software is not amazingly intuitive, and it's really easy to make manual data entry mistakes. So it's helpful to have you as the parent having a second set of eyes on your child's events. Finally, we'll send out the final entries, usually a couple days before the meet. So for red and black, we'll be doing this hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Friday. And at that time, you'll be billed for the meet, because at this point in time, you've signed up, you've gotten your swimmers events, you're well aware of what's coming. So then we'll bill you, and it'll be an auto bill situation unless you take your card off of out of your wallet and Team Unify, then obviously there's no way for it to auto bill you, but it'll typically be auto billed because you've signed up for the meet and by doing so have consented to a bill. And then you'll get the heat sheets a day or two before the meet starts, so you can mark up your swimmer's arm and do all that. Parent volunteering is a big one at swim meets. If your child is in the meet, this is the way I like to say it. If your child is in the meet, you will likely work. We will ask you to work as a timer for the meet. If you can't do it, maybe a spouse, maybe another family member, maybe an older sibling, you know, that's 11, 12, 13, 14 and up, that's not swimming in the meet. Maybe they can work as a timer, maybe a grandma or grandpa, maybe a family friend. But somebody representing your family will probably need to work the meet as a timer if it's a home meet for ABSC, because we will always need timers. I'll get more into that in a minute. An alternative is to become an official. If you become an official, obviously you'll be doing that instead of working as a timer. And I reached out to y'all last week, and we've had a great response for interested officials. So thank you guys. Hopefully we get everybody past the finish line, or at least a large number of you, and we have a whole bunch of new officials to our staff because we need them, and it's super exciting and super helpful. Christian Trotter is our volunteer coordinator. I believe he has 2 kids on the team, and they've been ABSC family for a really, really long time. I first met them several years ago, back when I was coaching the Bishop Park Dolphins, and his oldest son, Torin, joined the team shortly after that, and we've known them ever since. And Christian is our volunteer coordinator. I believe he's sent you guys an email already, sending you a sign up to work the swim meet. I'm talking without confirming that with Christian, so that's always a dangerous thing, but I definitely need to make sure I'm checking in with him. But point being, he's our volunteer coordinator. He'll email you before the meet and work on getting you plugged in to work as a timer. The red and black is a little different than some meets because we only run 1 pool and it's only 1 session. So definitely a lot of parents won't be able to work this meet, even some who want to. But rest assured, your time will come at future meets when you will definitely be called upon from the bullpen to come and provide that service. Where we can go, I'm almost done here. I'm down on my last slide or two. Where we can go in the Ramsey Center, when you first get there, you're going to enter through one of the 2 main entrances. There's 2 main entrances at Ramsey. There's the one that your swimmers come in for practice at Ramsey, which is where all the college students come and go. For most meets, we'll do that. For big meets, they often open up the other entrance, which is further down. It's still on the front side of the building, but it's further down on the very far left. There's like a ticket booth. It's a spectator entrance. And so sometimes you'll be asked to go into the spectator entrance. Either way, it's not usually too hard to figure out. When you come in through those main hallways and through the spectator lobby or the main lobby, go straight back to the pool. We can't have ABSC people, particularly, kids, swimmers, roaming the facility. That's a big no-no. They need to be inside the actual pool area, the Gabrielson Natatorium, not off on the basketball courts or in the weight room or anything like that. They need to be in the pool area. Parents and adults in general cannot go into the locker rooms during a swim meet or practice for ABSC. There are bathrooms upstairs that you can go into, and there's also private bathrooms down on the pool deck. Like if you're a timer or something, you can go in there. But that's part of our status as a safe sport club with USA Swimming, is that parents and adults are not allowed into the locker room, especially if kids are going in and out and going to the bathroom. Parents need to use the private restrooms or the restrooms upstairs. Kids are not allowed in the hallway unsupervised. They need to generally stay in the pool area. If they are in the hallway, they need to be with an adult. Siblings cannot be running wild. That's something that has happened in the past, and that risks getting us kicked out of Ramsey. So please do not let siblings run wild throughout the Ramsey Center. And do not use any gyms or exercise equipment. The obvious caveat that if you are a member of the Ramsey Center, then you have every right to use the exercise equipment, of course. If you're a Ramsey Center member, go for it. If not, don't be doing that. Finally, coaching and parenting at meets is the title of this slide. Coaching and parenting at meets. Please keep in mind that meets are a vulnerable thing for your swimmer. They are getting up in front of an entire auditorium of people and performing a skill, and that's never an easy thing. And so sometimes anything can happen. A kid can do great, or they can get nervous. They can be really excited, or they can have some tears. A lot of different things can happen. We as the coaches have seen it all, and it won't shock us, and we'll be prepared to respond to them no matter how they're feeling. Some kids are just like super competitive and super confident from day one. And that's great. Good on them. They are fortunate. Most kids don't fall into that boat in my experience. Most kids need a little bit more TLC than that. But yeah, some kids are lucky enough to have the that go-getter attitude from day one. But don't be surprised if your swimmer is not in that boat. I know I, as a swimmer, was not in that boat. I was definitely nervous at most of my swim meets. The great thing about swimming is everyone can succeed together and no one sits on the bench. That's a pretty cool thing compared to other sports. Every kid can do the meet, and the coaches are going to coach every kid no matter what, no matter if they're the fastest one or not. We're trying to help them all. We want to all eat together is what I try to tell the kids. We want to all succeed together. Tough thing about swimming is it's a battle of the mind. So it's kind of you against yourself in a lot of ways. It's like many things in life, right? Where the only thing holding you back is you. And so parents, the more you can help support your kids' mental side and with encouraging and positive and affirming statements, the better. We like to tell them, you'll always learn whether you add or drop, win or lose, make finals or don't make finals, get the cut or don't make the cut. You'll always learn. And finally, as a parent, a good verbiage to use is the whole "I love to watch you swim" versus trying to coach your swimmers on the way home from the pool. So just keep that in mind. No matter how they're doing, try to keep it as positive and relational and loving as possible. And that's what we ask as a staff. All right. So that's all I've got for you in terms of the PowerPoint slide. Let's open it up to a couple minutes of Q&A here. I will look at the chat. It looks like the first question was about long course. So long course is what happens in the summer for USA Swimming. And long course is when the pool is set up in a 50-meter format. It's the Olympic format. Right now, we're in the short course season, which is what the NCAA uses, what high schools use, and what a lot of USA Swimming meets during the school year are a short course. And Summer League is short course. But USA Swimming meets in the summer are the 50-meter double the length format. So a 50-meter swim is one lap across the pool instead of down and back. Next one, someone says Meet Mobile is awesome and strongly recommends it. I agree. Meet Mobile is great. Another parent asked, will the bulkhead be in place at the Ramsey pool this weekend for the red and black meet to make it short course? Yes. So the bulkhead, the pool will be set up in its race course format where we'll be in the main competition pool. The lanes will be I guess perpendicular to the bleachers. So parents are sitting in the, I can't show you with my hands, but parents will be sitting in the bleachers and you'll be looking down and your swimmer swimming sideways in front of you. And the other pool will be set up as a warm up and warm down pool. If you cannot make the special practice tomorrow, it's totally okay. I knew that when we set these up that not everybody would be able to attend the special practice to meet your big dog, little dog. Totally fine. Be there if you can. It's great. If not, you'll still get to meet them on Sunday at the meet. And if your swimmer's not doing the meet on Sunday, they can still, I laid it all out in an email. For most of the groups, they can still come to practice. For a couple of the groups, maybe hold off if it's a bonus practice. GUPS B, you do still have normal practice on Friday. Yep. GUPS B, all groups will have, all the GUPS and PUPS Oconee will have their normal practice on Friday. The only ones on Friday that don't have a normal practice are the Clark ones who are going to Ramsey instead. Are the new swimmers in Meet Mobile for ABSC? I can't find mine, only her old teams. That's a great question. So yes, they will be in Meet Mobile. They have to first swim a meet for ABSC. So because they haven't swam for ABSC before, you won't be able to find them listed as ABSC. Meet Mobile shows what teams they've swam in the past. And in fact, if your swimmer has been in Meet Mobile for like a high school team or a summer league team, you may even find them like for the high school team or the summer league team and not ABSC yet. But once they swim this red and black meet or whatever their first ABSC meet is, you'll be able to search their name and you'll find them as Athens Bulldog Swim Club. For the meet in South Carolina, does the entire team stay at the same hotel? Also, will we get information on that meet further out than 2 weeks prior? Great question. Yes. So for the team hotel, our parent committee is going to set up a block of hotels at like a block of rooms at a hotel, and we'll send you guys information in advance. We should get a small discount for that. You don't have to stay in the block hotel. You can stay wherever you want. So like, yes, it's a team event, no ABSC coaches will not be responsible for your swimmers when they're not at the pool. You'll stay with your parents wherever that is. So you can stay in the block of hotels. Definitely, the block of hotel rooms definitely don't have to. And will you get information on that meet further than 2 weeks? Yes, we will get information on that meet as soon as Coach Jonathan or I gets it from Team Greenville. As soon as Team Greenville sends it to us, we'll get that out to everybody. I'm hoping to input all the meets, what I have for all the meets, into our new website soon. If your Meet Mobile account has errors, such as meets your child did not participate in, how do we fix? That is a question that I probably don't know the answer to. That's wild. So maybe send me a separate email on that, and I can certainly look into it with, so the company that owns Meet Mobile is Active, actually, our former billing company. So I'll reach out to Active and see what to, I am familiar with communicating with Active support. My wife and I, yes, we did have a baby recently. He is 4 weeks old and he is doing great. And that goes along with our 2.5-week-old daughter, or sorry, 2.5-year-old daughter. I got baby brain a little bit, I guess, if that's a thing that dads can get. So, yep, 4-week-old son, he's doing awesome. I did forget one more thing, actually. I had a helpful links slide. So I'm going to share my screen for like 2 more seconds and just show y'all this. After this meeting is over, I'm going to send everyone this PowerPoint along with this recorded video. But here, there's a link to the old ABSC website, our meet schedule, our master calendar, our new ABSC website, which is Team Unify. I mentioned that earlier. That will become our official website soon. I actually have a Zoom call set up with them next week to talk about switching the domain name over, and then a link to the parent handbook. So forgot to do that slide. That's the last slide. Thank you to everyone saying congrats. Does anybody else, if you have any more questions, please go ahead and put it in the chat, or I guess really you could unmute yourself and ask if you'd like. It looks like we've got about 3 minutes left before we've got to end this Zoom. So you guys are all free to go if you don't have anything else. If you do have another question, what time do we get there Sunday? That is a great question. I need to make sure everybody knows that. So warm up on Sunday will be 11 a.m. I would recommend being there by 10:45, 10:50, so that your swimmer can be down on the swim deck, on the pool deck in their suit by 11, ready to go. They'll swim a quick warm up, and then they will break into the red and black team, and then they will meet their big dog, or find their big dog, and start getting ready. How many swimmers are on the team? Has it always been this large? So we have a good, we're up around 350 in the competitive team now, it seems like. And no, it has not always been this large. I think when I started with ABSC about 10 years ago, we probably had about 175-ish. So we've probably doubled in the last decade. But a lot of that comes from adding new facilities, and we also never used to do monthly billing for our younger kids and things like that. So we've tried to make it a lot more accessible to families in the community. Hand out red and black caps on Sunday if we aren't at practice Thursday or Friday. Yes, the red and black caps have arrived at my house. We'll try to hand out a bunch of them at practice over the next couple of days, but if not, we will also hand them out at the swim meet as well. I'll have some sort of triage table set up. I don't know if that's the right usage of triage, but anyway, if you have a sick child and have to withdraw them at the last minute, will you still be charged if they are unable to compete? Yes. So if they are signed up for the meet and they are withdrawn, because ABSC still owes a fee for that swimmer, they will still be charged. Hopefully this has all been helpful. A couple of you saying thank you. I appreciate it. And again, if you have more questions, please feel free to just reach out and email me. I'm happy to answer anything else. Reach out to Coach Jonathan, reach out to your lead group coach, all that. Looks like we've got a minute left. I'll stay on here if anybody has any last minute Hail Marys of questions, and then we'll be done. So thanks, everybody.
I have a crazy question. Will the kids that move from one team to another team be considered undeclared for the beginning part of the season?
Unattached.
Unattached.
Yes. Yeah. So the rule is that they have 120 days from their last meet with their old club. So If
Okay.
they have swam a meet within the last 120 days, they will technically have to be attached until that 120-day, unattached until that first 120-day period is up.
So if they swam long course state, then they can't until November swim on a relay team, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
we'll probably, red and black may be a little bit different. Well, for red and black, they'll still get to do a relay because it's just
Okay.
our club. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.